Hello everyone, good morning. Welcome to MuleSoft training offered by UnoGeeks. In this video, we'll see how to invoke a non-static Java method using a Java connector. Right? In the previous one, we have seen how to invoke a static Java method, and that was plain and simple. All we had to do is use invoke a static operation in a Java connector. But if you have to invoke a non-static Java method, it will be a two-step process. You will have to first invoke the constructor of the class, a constructor of the class to get a handle of it, and then with the help of that handle you would invoke a non-static Java method. uh, okay, so let's see how to do it. And I will start off by creating a Mule application or a Mule project. Yeah, Java connector non-static Mule application. Finish. And we're going to drop in a HTTP listener to fire off this API that we're going to build. So add the connector configuration with the default values and use a path. Give it a meaningful name. So you say our non-static Java demo. And I want to create a Java class first, and I want to put in a non-static method in there, which I want to eventually invoke from this process. So I go to Java folder, do a right click, and I want to add in a class there. So add a new class. Use UnoGeeks as a package name and Hello World as a class name. And you have to use a capital letter. That's a standard. Go with the default options and click on finish. So a Java class has been created without any methods. And let's go ahead and add in a non-static method. And this method is going to, all it's going to do is say hi. So it will take in a name as an input, and it will prefix hi to that name, and it's going to send that back as a response. Okay. And I want to invoke this non-static Java method from the Mule flow. And let's see how to do it. And to do that, first thing I need to do is add a Java module to the project. And if had it been a non-static method, had it been a static method, I could have invoked it plain and simple by invoking this, by using this invoke static operation. But since it is a non-static method, I will have to use a combination of new and invoke to successfully invoke it. So what will happen if you invoke new? As you can see, what all it does is it instantiates the class. Okay, so it gives user a handle or a new instance of the given class, and you will use that new instance to invoke the static methods, or to invoke the non-static methods. Because normally, even outside of Mule, if you have to invoke a non-static method, you would have to first get yourself an instance of the class by invoking a constructor, and then you use that instance to invoke a method within that particular class. So yeah, no confusion that we have to do it the same way in a Mule flow, because end of the day, it's all about how you work with the Java classes and how you invoke them. So if it's a static method, you will have to create an instance by invoking the constructor first, and after that you can use that instance to invoke a non-static Java methods. So let's create an instance of the class first by using this a new operation, drag and drop it. And you can search for the class, pick up the one that you have just created, and you need to, or before you search for it, save the file, and then you search for the file now. You should see the entry showing up in a moment here. Yeah, pick it up. And you should also see the method getting defaulted here because there's only one method. Yeah. And what gets defaulted here is a constructor. So every class would have a constructor, and you could invoke that inherited constructor to get an instance of this class. And with that instance, you would be able to invoke non-static Java methods like say hi. So yes, the new operator, a new operation is going to invoke the constructor, and this is going to return you back a instance. And you need to capture that in a variable. So think of it as a handle that you get, which you want to safely capture, so that you could use that handle in the next processor where we are going to use this invoke to kick off a non-static Java method. So to safely capture the instance that gets generated, I go to advanced, and you can set up a target variable here where you want to capture the instance that is going to get created. And you can give it a name, use the same name as called hello world. So this particular operation is going to invoke the hello class, the hello world constructor. And this is going to return an instance of the object, instance of the class. And that instance is going to get stored in this a target variable called hello world. And moving on from here, if you want to invoke something within the hello world class, if you want to invoke something, you could make use of this variable. Okay, this is nothing but an instance that was created, and with the help of this, you could invoke a method. So the way you invoke this is you say hello world handler, hello world variable that is created dot say hi. That's how you invoke a non-static methods. So let's go ahead and use invoke method. And when you use invoke, it'll ask you to map the instance name. So this instance is, so this, we have used this new operation to create that instance in first place, and we have captured that in a hello world variable. So I'm going to refer to that. I'm going to pass that variable as an instance to the invoke method or invoke operation. Okay, and what is it that you want to do? You want to again search for the same class, pick it up, and you should see the method getting defaulted there since there is only one. You should see say hi method coming up here, or if it doesn't come up, we can pick it up explicitly, say hi. Yeah. And what is it that we want to do? Again, we'll do the same thing. We'll receive name as a query parameter, and we will pass it as input to the Java method. So the way we do it is change this to expression, and go to data wave and write in an expression there. Go to invoke. Say hi. And save it. Right. Now let's go into the argument section, and let's try to do the mapping. So we could see that this invoke method is expecting us to pass a value to the name parameter that you have on the Java class method. Okay, so I will be getting a name as a query parameter, and I want to pass that as is to the Java method as input. So to capture that, or to pass a query parameter as input to the invoke method, I'll write a data wave expression here. So I can use the mapper, and I can write in a simple data wave expression that will look like this. So all I'm doing is it's a plain and simple data wave expression where I'm mapping a query parameter name or assigning query parameter name to the name method or name input parameter that we have on the Java method. But in simpler terms, I'm just passing in a query parameter that I'm going to receive into the flow. I'm passing that as input to the Java method. And what will the Java method do? It will just prefix hi to that name that you're passing in, and it'll send that back as a response. And you could probably set a payload. So you can use a set payload component. And that should be fine. Let's run the project now and wait for the application to come up or wait for the flow to be deployed. And you can copy the path, and we'll have the request ready to be kicked off from Postman tool. So once this Mule application is up and running, when we fire off this request to a non-static Java demo path, and if you pass name as UnoGeeks, this name or whatever you pass as a query parameter, that will be passed as first the flow will create an instance of the hello world class, and then with the help of that instance, we are invoking a non-static method called say hi that we have in the class. And we're passing in the query parameter as input to this method, which will prefix hello and send that back as a response. And we're using a set payload component to send that response back to the calling client. So whatever name you pass in here to the name that you're passing in here, hi should be prefixed and it should come back to you as a response. That's the expectation. And let's see if it works as expected or not. Let's fire off a request. And you could see that it has done its job. So this is how you invoke a non-static Java method from a Mule application. And again, you will be using Java connector for both, or for invoking both the static as well as non-static Java methods. But there will be a slight difference in how you do it. And a static method, you could invoke it directly with invoke static operation. But if it's a non-static method such as this one, you will have to instantiate, you will have to create an instance of the class first, and then use that to invoke a non-static Java methods. Okay. Thank you very much for watching this video, guys. In case you were interested in MuleSoft training offered by UnoGeeks, please call us on this number or send a WhatsApp message. Or in case you want to check out the course content, or in case you want us to share the course content, or in case you have any queries related to MuleSoft training, please feel free to drop an email. You can send us an email at info@inogeeks.com. Thank you very much, guys.